Today's Stav-Tech video is about porn. Hopefully not the type of porn that gets us removed from YouTube, but turbo porn. And these things really are. These are Garrett G25-660s. As you can tell, they're symmetrical with one standard rotation, one reverse rotation, and that is purely because they're going on the Pricey Motorsport build is going on with at the moment, which you've probably seen in my previous videos, which is a W12 Bentley Continental GT Supersports engine. That's actually going in a Ford Econoline van, mid-mounted, but these are going on it, and everything's going to be symmetrical, hence why these are symmetrical too. But this video, as well as showing you how awesome these things look, because, wow, look at them, they are badass. This is going to be a technical video, A, to explain all about them, B, explain why it's worth getting these over other things. I mean, there's a lot of options out there, and to be honest, these turbos aren't like some kind of magical super turbo that suits every application. Turbos don't work like that. You know, the laws of physics still apply no matter how cool the turbos are. So I'm going to explain how you make the most out of these as well, because some people just, I've seen, you know, these already on vehicles, people just get the wrong idea and they're not really making the most of them, and it's not the turbo's fault, it's literally just poor selection. Billet compressor, obviously, that is speed sensor port if you want it. As you can see, identical bar and reverse rotation, anti-surge inlet as you'd expect. V-band on the turbine side. These ones are the 92 AR housings, the biggest housings, because, wow, there's 3 litres for each turbo on the application. Lots of cool touches, like even the compressor housing clamps are branded Garrett. It's nice actually as well to be V-band holding the housing on. It makes it so much easier to orientate. The turbine wheel, which is remarkably small, but we'll get onto that in a minute. But also look at the way the turbine outlet is. That is proper flow. So many of these turbos exist aren't optimized, because it's more than just the compressor wheels and turbine wheels. It's how optimal the flow is for the entire thing, and these are capable of the power they are on the right application, of course, because they are really very optimized and efficient. So let's get on to the actual details of what's what. These are, as maybe their name suggests, being called G25-660s, the frame size is a 25, as in GT25 and so on, because these genuinely are small frame turbos. They take up no more room than realistically like a GT28 RS, for example, which is a turbo you lot probably know, and they are capable of about, well, best part of twice the power. And you look at them and think that's not possible, and to be fair, it's not possible if you've got the wrong application. Same as you couldn't even get the full power out of GT28 RS if you put it on the wrong application. It's horses for courses no matter what turbo you've got, no matter how high tech it is. So it's no different with this. But these are capable of 600 plus horsepower each, which is crazy, and I'll explain now why as I go through everything and compare it to a few other things. But regardless, even if you don't understand or don't give a damn, you've got to appreciate how fucking awesome these things look. I know I'm a bit of a turbo geek, but these things do look super cool. Starting with the compressor side, again, there's no magic to this. Like I've always said, it don't matter what, as you know, while turbo technology and compressor efficiency and so on, you know, yes, it plays a part, but compressor inducer diameter is a very, very good indication of how well a turbo will perform, like the maximum capability of the compressor. And on these are rated to 660 by Garrett. The compressor map ends at 60 pounds a minute, which to most people you'd call that 600 brake. And these are a 54mm inducer, which is massive for a turbo of this tiny frame. But a 54mm inducer is the same size as, for example, most wholesale HX35s, which again are proven at 600 brake with a 54mm inducer. It's not magic. It's just managing to get it in a really, really compact frame, which these do. So yeah, the compressor wheel, it's super efficient, because you look, I mean, the blades go right up to the nut. There's no wasted air in there, and just the general Garrett design is very high flowing and efficient. Nice thin billet blades and so on. But the long and the short of it is, a very efficient 54mm inducer compressor wheel should be good for 600 brake, and these are. And if anything, the fact that these have got a relatively small exducer and a fairly small housing, but still are capable of 600, shows how efficient that wheel would be. You could probably put the same wheel, or the same wheel design, but with a bigger exducer and a bigger housing in, you know, and it would create more power. But it wouldn't be this small frame, which is one of the big advantages of these. I mean, yeah, it's a 600 brake turbo, and there's other 54mm inducer 600 brake turbos, but they are physically sort of, you know, maybe 50% bigger in the space they take up. On a lot of cars, space is at a premium, which is a big advantage of these again. You can put these in the OEM positions, whereas rather than having to build like a big custom turbo system that has usually got a lot of compromises and having to redesign the whole engine bay, these will go pretty much where any stock turbo will fit, which is another thing you're paying the money for, you know. The turbo inside is where things get a bit less obvious, but I can explain it very well, so let's have a look. On the turbo side, this is where it gets a bit more difficult to make the 600 plus horsepower these are capable of, because, and there's no getting around it, these turbo wheels are small, but they're bloody efficient, and it's all about efficiency and also being fitted to the right engine. Thing is, right, these turbo wheels are the same overall diameter, so inducer diameter on the turbo side, as a GT28 RS or any sort of Garrett GT28 series, so 2871, whatever. A 2871, people do manage 450 brake on one of them on a small capacity engine, and that's a lot for a little turbo wheel like that, but that is pretty much all it's got. This, despite having the same inducer size, is good for, well, a good 150 more, possibly 200 more. And how is that possible? Well, it has got a 2mm larger exducer, which is the important point. The exducer diameter is the key for a turbine wheel for maximum flow. That's the kind of best way of reading it. While there's inducers and exducers to compressor and turbine, it's really compressor, inducer and turbine exducer. That's the important two when you're trying to sort of figure out what a turbo could do. It's not like there's no set numbers, but it'll give you a very good impression. And again, these are 2mm bigger than a old school GT28 one, but 2mm does not make 150-200 brake more. The difference is the wheel design is different, much higher flowing, much more efficient. I mean, again, the centre bore takes up a lot less room, which gives you more wheel room. you can probably see yourself by looking at it. If you can picture some older turbine wheels, there's a lot more airflow gap on this compared to what you used to. And as much as anything, it's the turbine housing design. Again, the way the outlet is especially, and just the overall design, it flows really well. I mean, there's no magic there. Garrett is the only company I can think of that actually published turbine flow graphs, which in an application like this, where you look at that wheel and think, how's that going to flow that kind of power, they're worth their weight in gold. Because if you look at them, the 92 housing option here, which is what this has got, flows almost the same, despite a much smaller wheel, than the typical 63 housing you would fit on a, well, like a lot of people will fit on a Garrett GT35-82R turbo, you know, going for, you know, 600 brake like you would with this. But the fact the wheels, both compressor and turbine side, but especially that turbine wheel, is so much smaller than the GT35 one, it spools much quicker, like very much so. As an example of spool difference, we got these turbos from Badger 5. Any Volkswagen Audi guy in the UK will have heard of Badger 5. I would say they're the top 1.8 20 valve turbo tuners in the UK. And more to the point for these, they are the people with the most proven testing and performance from these Garrett G25 series of any car. Not just the Volkswagen Audis. I mean, they've fitted these so many times in so many different ways and done so much proper in-depth dyno testing that they were the experts, and that's why we went to them, because they really know their stuff. And they are, Bill and Alex there are some of the most no bullshit people you'll ever meet in the tuning scene, which is why I like them. So they will tell you as it is. And the G25 series is a funny one. You do see a lot of people fitting them, and the numbers aren't as big. You know, people fit these things and they're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna have 650 brake, and they don't get anywhere near it, and then they wonder why. And the reason why is they've picked the wrong choice of turbo or turbine housing for the engine they're basically fitting it to. Their goals are just not realistic. Badger 5, for example, because they know how to size these, they fitted the smaller 550 version of these to an Audi 180 engine and made well over 500 brake on pump fuel, yet having the same sort of spool as the standard little tiny KO4 turbo those engines come with. And that is a fast spooling turbo standard. They are not laggy turbos from the factory, and these can be fitted to them with the right setup and make a dyno proven 500 plus horsepower while spooling like standard. So that's basically practically twice the power the original turbo is capable of, but with stock spool, which is amazing. Cheap they are not, but if you size them right, which again, Badger 5 understand that, you get the right results, you know. So yeah, sizing these is where people get things wrong, and then obviously they either feel disappointed or blame the turbo. But it's not the turbo's fault, it is literally sized wrong for the application. And I'll explain, well, I've kind of touched on it already, but let me explain in a practical example. Let's go to a typical 2 litre, 2.5 litre engine. Let's go in for, say, 600 horsepower. Back in the day, and well, up until the present day, a very common thing to do is fit like a Garrett GT35-82R with a 63 exhaust housing. And yeah, that's capable on the right engine, 2 litre, 2.5 of 600 brake all day long, anywhere between about probably 1.4, well 1.5 and 2.5 bar, depending on how well the engine flows, and they can do it. Fine, easy, job done. But then people get one of these and they size them wrong, because they think, oh wow, you know, this turbo is capable of, you know, over 600 brake, and they fit like the smaller housing, which if you've got any common sense, you look at the exhaust flow map, and the exhaust flow map says you ain't got hope in hell of even matching a 63 housing GT35 without this big 0.92. It doesn't work like that. The Garrett tell you that. So if you fit a smaller one, then complain, oh, you're not making as much power, then it's your fault, really. It's a bit ridiculous. So you have to have this big housing, and you will still get much faster spool because the wheels are smaller. And it's just a nicer, overall, more efficient design. But it's not a miracle work. You can't fit a small housing and expect to make big power. And it's the same with these people. They think, you know, they're going to make their 600 brake at relatively low boost. No, it's, if you look at the compressor map again, and look at how your engine flows. Just if your engine makes, you know, 200 brake NA, you're not making 600 brake at 1 bar or 1.5 bar. You're making it at big boost. It don't matter if it's one of these or something ancient. Flow is flow. You know, efficiency helps, but it's not a miracle worker. You have to size them right. And you look at the map on this, and it's more efficient, but it's not wildly different to a GT35 one. It's just much smaller and faster spooling. And on a GT35, realistically, for a legit 600 brake on a 2 litre, for example, generally you're lucky unless it flows really well, like a Honda K series. On a, you know, a typical one, an SR or a, you know, not a VT, I mean a DT head, a COSI engine, whatever. A legit 600 brake is probably more like 2.5 bar boost. And it's no different on this. You can't fit one of these, run relatively low boost and expect the mega power if you haven't got the flow for it. If you got a K series, yeah. On this, no. Hello, Thomas.
Sorry for the interruption.
No problem.
I've nearly finished mine.
No worries.
We have the 4th prototype of the merge collectors for these turbos in aluminium, so it's cheaper to make. And just to let know the internet gurus, done research, 6:1 into a V-band merge collector. Everyone is like, ah, divided by 6 360, it turns out 60 degree, cut them. No. Beep beep. It's 38 degree actually. If you want to do 6 pipes into one into the V-band merge collector, you cut them at 38 degree, all of them. And obviously it is too difficult to hold them all in one place, but
that looks awesome.
So these 3, they make a plane, and obviously the other side is completely mirrored, and it's going to make a 6. There's no chance I'm gonna hold them all, but
you never know, mate, if I help you.
But I'm gonna try it. Yeah, I'm gonna try. Let's try it just for the sake of. There you go.
Maybe.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna weld it up soon. So.
No, not quite. 5 gives you the idea, though.
5 gives you the idea. Hold on, let me just. Maybe.
Depends how steady your hand is.
Let me just.
Oh, maybe if you change the angle of your hand as well to stop it slipping.
Ah, very good.
It's tricky though.
No, you have to change it now. It moves. Well,
yeah.
Fuck it.
You get the idea.
You get the idea.
But yeah, I'm surprised that's only took you that long. I thought it was going to take you a lot more figuring out than that. But that looks.
Nah, I kind of done it before. A few times.
So that, I mean, that looks amazing.
Yeah.
The cuts of that disc is good as well.
Yes. And the beauty is, the stainless actually are cut with the same kind of disc. So it's not abrasive, doesn't produce any heat whatsoever, not high cycle, it's going to be cold cut and exactly the same looking and clean as the aluminium ones. Same diameter, so gonna weld them up now just to obviously for the sake of there's your prototype.
So there's your 6:1 into that. And good times. And then
this is actually for these turbos, so
yeah, exactly.
And,
but
for people who says I can make exhaust money for the in a day, no. If you make 2 merge collectors in a day, then
you're doing well.
You're doing well. You only start.
No. They do. They are real nice. But yeah, you'd need a bit of tape to hold them together, some blue tack.
No,
tack them together.
Yeah, tie them together, and then obviously because then once you got this, you have the a round bit here, and then you have to put them in a plane, measure obviously the V-band, the diameter, and cut the outside of this to match the OD diameter of the V-band to put them on. Because once you make one of these, you really don't want to fuck it up.
No, there's no turning back, is there?
Exactly. Not get this right, because yeah, it takes some time to do it properly.
So yeah, with these, it's all about sizing them right, no matter what. It's no different to your previous turbos. You can't, what goes in still has to come out. And while it looks like it's not possible for it to come out, it is. It's just, this will flow about as much as a 63 GT35 housing and no more. So if you can't do it out of a 63 housing GT35, you can't do it out of this. And would you fit a 63 housing GT35 to a gigantic high revving engine? No. They're for relatively small capacity. You know, 2 litre, 2.5. It's too small for a 3 litre that revs to like 7 grand for a JZ, unless you wasn't going for maximum power. If you're going for 500 brake, yeah, but 600, no. You're not going to max one of these out on a big engine because you'll run out of turbine. Simple as that. And it's no different to a previous turbo. The only difference is this will spool up so much faster. And this is why I decided upon this spec for the Bentley engine. 6 litre, so 3 litre per turbo. But realistically, they only have to make, you know, we wasn't even aiming for 1,000 horsepower, but if you get 1,000 horsepower out of it, a winner. For the Bentley engine, it doesn't rev to the moon. It makes power relatively low. Standard peak torque is about 1,700 RPM. And if we can keep this spooling almost like that, which I think we probably will, it'd be awesome. But these will easily make 500 brake at relatively low boost on a high flowing, you know, big capacity engine like that. It's fine. If we was going for 600 brake per turbo, you know, so a 1,200 brake setup, or even if I was, you know, wanted over 1,000 horsepower, I would have been, you know, borderline with these and probably would have went for the 30s just for the more turbine flow, because that's the key here. And this is why Badger 5 with the 180 engines, because sub 2 litre, they need less turbine, which means they can have amazing performance without the spool problem. You know, they're getting GT35 power, but with, you know, the spool of a GT28. But don't fit one of these to a 2J and expect to get 660 brake all day long and all that, because it don't work like that. You would struggle to get 600 from one of these out of a 2J because of the turbine housing. You'll get 500 and it'll spool like an absolute, you know, craziness. But maxing these out, you need a small capacity engine that flows really well. You know, because some of these, you do see these maxed out. I've seen these on singles on, you know, small motorbike type engines, or as twins on like race spec RB 26s and stuff like that. And yeah, they max them out, fully max them out. But that's because they're small capacity, so you don't need as much turbine flow. Because that's what people forget, and it's nothing to do with these, it's just turbos in general. The more capacity you've got, regardless of how much power you're making, the more turbine flow you need. You know, you could have an 8 litre making 200 brake. It needs a lot more turbine flow than a 2 litre making 200 brake, a hell of a lot more. You know, because some people think it's just about power, some people think it's just about capacity. You know, it's both. The more power you make, the more turbine flow you will have, the more exhaust flow you need. But capacity makes an even bigger difference. You know, that's why you see big V8s run gigantic turbos, 1,000 plus capable turbos, even when they're going for maybe, you know, hundreds of horsepower less. Because if they fitted the same turbo that a 2 litre or 3 litre would need for that kind of power, they would choke it out on the turbine side. And it's the same with these. But it doesn't matter anyway, because these are G28s. Garrett's do what? G30s? Everything up to, I think they're doing up to 55s, aren't they? You know, they do everything. But it's just sizing them right. And if you're not sure, ask people who know, because the trouble is, a lot of tuners don't understand. You know my opinion on a lot of tuners, simple as that. But this is why I like Badger 5, and this is why I spoke to them about these. As well as them being able to get them, which is a lot more than I can say for a lot of people I've tried to contact who claim they could get these. Badger 5 have done all the testing, all the tuning on these, so they know what works and what don't, and they can pick you the correct one rather than a tuner telling you to get, well, generally the wrong one from what I've seen. I've seen far too many people complain about these, saying they're not capable of the power. They're just not capable of power on that person's engine. On the right engine, they are. Garrett aren't lying. It is just horses for courses, same as any turbo. And two of these on a 6 litre, going for 1,000 tops, fuck yeah, they will make it easily. They might make more, but they will make that. So you just got to have the right turbo for you, and job done. But don't guess. If you don't understand, find someone who's proved it. And you know, I'm not like an advert for anybody, but I got a lot of respect for Badger 5 because they proved it. You go on their, you know, on their Facebook page, for example, they show all the dyno figures. They don't hide nothing. They tell you the specs, tell you the dyno figures, and they use these G series on everything now because it works perfectly for a small capacity, big power car for maximum spool. You wouldn't fit one of these to even a, you know, like a, if you try to fit one of these to like a 1UZ looking for 600 brake, you ain't going to make 600 brake. You might not even make, or a Barra, for example, 4 litre. You probably wouldn't even make 500, almost certainly wouldn't, because you'd run out of turbine. But that's the point, these, you know, but if you did that, if you had any sense, you would buy a G30 or G35. So yeah, there's no magic with these turbos. You just got to understand that they're not magic, that you have to size them like you size any other turbo. So yeah, overall though, I'm mega impressed with these. I won't lie to you, I can't afford one because they're what, 1,500 quid plus. They're, you know, and that's these small ones. The bigger they get, the more expensive they get. They are not the most expensive turbos on the market. In my opinion, they're far better value than a lot of turbos that are more expensive. There's some turbos out there that are rivals that cost way beyond £2,000, and personally I don't see it. This is more than I can afford, but if you want the maximum sort of performance for the minimum space taken up and great spool on a small capacity engine, you get one of these really, don't you? So yeah, I hope that's helped explain a bit of turbo tech for you. I'll put link to Badger 5 if it's them guys you want to speak to in the description as well. But these days with the wonders of Google, I'm sure you can just type in Badger 5 and you'll find them. But they're great guys and they know more about these than anyone else in the UK, like proven, not claims. So yeah, good times. Another thing we got off Badger 5 at the same time as the turbos is the wastegates. These are Turbo Smart 50mm Pro gates, and I'm sure if you watch any of my videos or followed Stav-Tech, you know, on Facebook or anything, you'll see it. Generally I prefer Turbo Smart wastegates over any others. For me, they've always been the most reliable ones I've had, the best built, and more to point value for money. They just work and they don't cost a fortune. Australian made, as I'm sure you know. But yeah, Turbo Smart stuff is, in my opinion, the best ones for the money. You know, UK at least anyway. I don't know what prices, you know, worldwide, but in the UK I wouldn't choose anything else. And the build quality is brilliant, to be fair. So yeah, we're gonna have 2 660s and 2 Turbo Smart Pro gates. And again, we got these for Badger 5, and price wise they were basically better than everyone else, as well as being able to get them super fast and, more to the point, really knowledgeable. I just said I needed 2 gates. I never told him the size, and he said, oh, you'll want 50s. And I was like, well yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. But I didn't even have to tell him that because they understand. Simple as that. Also, you can, maybe you not know, I've never asked them, and in reality, when I think about it, it's really weird. What the bloody hell a Badger 5 called Badger 5? I don't know. I should ask him one day. I've never really thought about it. It's a weird name. But yeah. For anyone who's not in the UK, badgers are those things. Black and white animals, wild animals, kind of the size of a dog, and are vicious buggers. And we've got them over here. I don't think you've got them all around the world, but weird black and white things that they hurt when they bite you. You don't see them very often because they're at night. You mostly see them dead on the road after being hit by a car. But yeah, that's a badger. And I don't have a clue why Badger 5 are called Badger 5. Maybe ask them when you ring up to buy your your G-Series turbos. But yeah, either way, I can't wait to see this on the Bentley engine. Hang on, here comes Thomas with something special.
With some hot cakes.
Oh my god. Oh, Jesus Christ. So yeah, that is the prototype 6-into-1 merge collector.
Can you see it from inside?
Oh, yeah, looks, oh Jesus, that looks amazing. This looks like some weird music video, or you're on drugs, because it looks amazing. It looks like a bit like a kaleidoscope. Yeah. Christ.
There is a bit of a gap on this one, because each of them is 38 degrees. One of them is 39.
Ah.
So, but I knew it. That's why the one I got to. The rest is perfect.
Yeah, that looks amazing. That looks so cool.
So,
and yeah.
This is what, obviously now we have to chop them.
Yeah, but that is gonna... Let's move this away a bit so it gives it full awesomeness. But yeah, that obviously is gonna be V-band there, but 6-into-1. 6-into-1 into G25-660. That is badass. That looks super cool. Oh, you got
the V-ones, yes. We don't have the original Garrett ones. I got these ones from Germany. You just have to machine the lip.
Yeah, definitely want the lip to match.
Yeah, these ones, they have to be machined. And then obviously this one goes here, same size, same Audi and ID.
Yeah.
And these, obviously now we have to chop this to match the V-band. Yeah. And you port it inside a little bit, and there you go.
Yeah, plonk it on, let's have a look at it with a V-band.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that looks...
Slightly lower, because obviously this is, when it's carried off, the audio of this will have to match the audio.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll go down by a few mil, but generally, that is awesome. I'm really looking forward to this. I think it's going to work so well. It's gonna.
The only problem is the head flanges, which we had them CNC machine from stainless 316. They haven't even arrived to the machining shop.
No.
So we have a massive delay. The machining shop promised me to send them up to me the last Friday, and today is what, Wednesday, next week, and they still haven't received the.
No.
But the guy sent me the picture of the courier. They said, "Oh, we labeled them wrongly."
Yeah. Oh.
So expect delays. Yeah. No shit.
Oh fucking hell. But yeah. Well,
this is how this job works.
Yeah, this is the tuning world, unfortunately. It's never easy. No. But look at that. That is awesome. And you look inside, so I just remind myself of like cheapy Chinese manifolds and the collectors on them. And then you look at this, it looks like a work of art.
This looks like, if you look inside, it looks like some DMT trip.
Yeah, that's what I mean, it looks proper crazy.
I like it.
I tell you, I know it's not relevant to anything about performance, but I do like the little touches, like the fact it says Honeywell Garrett printed on there, and all this kind of stuff. It's like, it's meaningless, but I like the little, weird little things like that on turbos. You know, this isn't the only turbo like it, but this is full of them. And I like these little touches. Yeah. So, but no, that is...
I did have my sexual erection from when they arrived.
Following on from Thomas's collector earlier, he's now cut it down to the correct size for the V-band. And look at that. That looks flipping amazing. Look at that. That is mega, mega badass. Two of them, one to each turbo. Fun times. It is awesome. Didn't even take Thomas very long because, wow, he's been doing this stuff for so long. He's got a real eye for what angles work. So he made this in the time that I made the rest of this video, as in explaining the Garrett G series stuff. Literally half an hour. So obviously this is just an aluminium mock-up, but bloody hell, it looks awesome.